It had been a hot and dry summer on the island of Soder. Rusty, the little diesel, was with the workmen, who were cutting the grass beside the line. Peter Sam trundled alongside. "Why are you playing with grass, Rusty?" Rusty chuckled. "We're not playing, we're plucking. It's necessary to remove the dry grass from beside the track so sparks from your funnels don't set it alight." "Oh, I see. I suppose you don't have to worry about it then. You're a diesel." "Indeed," Rusty replied. Peter Sam steamed onward with his coaches full of campers. They were all going on a group camping trip. He dropped them off at the station and headed back home. At the campsites, the campers decided to set up their tents. One camper in particular was having a difficult time. The wind kept blowing his tent down. It was his first time camping and he was new to the whole experience. He clumsily set up his tent and made himself a fire to cook some lunch. "That was good," said the camper. "Now to go for a hike?" But what the careless camper didn't realize was that he forgot to put his fire out. Hot cinders were blown through the air. They landed on the grass, which caught fire. The fire spread and spread. At the sheds, Skarloey was resting. Peter Sam arrived home from taking the campers to their site. "Afternoon, Peter Sam," said Skarloey. "How was the campers' train?" Peter Sam was about to reply when Mr. Percival ran frantically to the sheds. "I need an engine to evacuate the campsite. It's an emergency. There's a wildfire," he cried. The other engines gasped. "I'm not going out there," said Duncan. "It'll be as flamming as a phoenix in this heat." "Rusty is near there too," exclaimed Peter Sam. "Let Rusty evacuate them then," yawned Sir Handel. "I'm not going out either." "I'll go," cried Skarloey. Greenies rolled up next to him. "Are you sure, old friend? Duncan is right. A wildfire in this heat would be very dangerous." "We must rescue the campers, and Rusty, and the workmen," said Skarloey. "Good," said Mr. Percival. "Right now. Collect some coaches right away." Skarloey steamed away as fast as his wheels could carry him, leaving many worried engines behind. Skarloey collected some empty coaches and sped up the line. Rusty had already cut the grass on his way, so the fire hadn't spread too close to the tracks yet. Thank goodness for Rusty, Skarloey thought. Skarloey arrived at the platform, where all of the campers were waiting. Wasting no time, they piled into the coaches. Meanwhile, Rusty was still with the workmen. The driver sniffed. "Do I smell smoke? Rusty, is your motor all right? That's not me, driver." The driver looked back. To his horror, in the distance, smoke was rising from the trees. "There's a fire!" he cried. But then they heard a whistle. Out of the smoke and ash, a blackened Skarloey steamed forward. "Skarloey!" Rusty said, surprised. "Quickly!" shouted Skarloey. "Round up all the workmen. We must get back to the sheds." The workmen dropped their tools and scrambled into Rusty's coach. Skarloey coupled up to the little diesel, and together they hurried away. But they weren't safe yet. The flames were fast approaching. The wind blew hard, pushing the flames toward them. They rode across the uncut grass. "It's getting hot around here," Rusty coughed. "We have to keep going." Skarloey wheezed. Just then, Rusty felt a splash of water on his radiator. "Rain? In this heat?" "No," laughed the driver. "It's Harold. He's dousing the flames with buckets of water." Harold flew overhead, pouring water on the flaming fields. "Don't stop now, chaps. Keep going. I'll take it from here. Where'd Harold?" Rusty beamed brightly. "Well done. Cheers. And keep up the good work." Both engines forgot to be hot and tired, and the cavalcade powered through the heat. When they arrived home at the sheds, everyone cheered and whistled. "Well done, both of you," beamed Mr. Percival. The engines were relieved that their friends and their passengers alike were safe and sound. They looked on as Harold slowly but surely put the fire out in the distance. Soon the fire was over, but the damage was done. The forest was a shell of what it had once been. Rusty and Skarloey trundled along, sadly surveying the remains. "This is why I cleared the grass, to stop something like this," Rusty said somberly, "but it happened anyway." "Never mind," said Skarloey. "If you hadn't cleared the grass on your way up the line, I wouldn't have made it so far to rescue you." Rusty smiled, but he still felt sad about the forest. If anyone needs to learn a lesson about dry grass, it's those careless campers. Maybe this will teach them to be more careful. Skarloey and Rusty trundled home with the hope that maybe one day the forest will grow back to its former glory. I wonder if they're right, don't you?